Welcome back, garden friends. Another great day out in the garden. It's a nice cool winter's day, or not, actually not winter's, fall. It's fall day, but it almost feels like winter around here. It's nice and cool and chilly. We're getting a little bit of rain overnight, but it's still dry enough to work. I'd recommend not digging up in your soil if it's extra wet and soggy for us. I mean, the amount of rain we just got was so small that it did nothing to the soil moisture. But you can see right here, we've been working in this garden bed for quite a while. In past videos, we talked about solarizing and smothering the weeds and trying to cook out their seeds with excessive heat. So we did that all through the month of September, and now it's done. So you see we still have one garden bed that's covered for now, just because we're gonna work at one at a time. So we pulled this one off this last week. We finished up some projects in other garden, but you can see, so right now we're gonna be in here just digging around. And we're gonna do our best to actually cultivate the soil. We have a ton of fresh compost that got added last spring, but we've also have a lot of weeds that had grown in here and multiplied and spread, from nut sedge to Bermuda grass and a few others as well. But those are the two primary weeds, as you can see right here. Just tons of nut sedge remnants right there. So what we're doing today and in this video is I'm going to show you, maybe we'll have a fun time lapse. Right now is the before, pretty soon we'll do the after, but I want to show you how quickly we're going to turn this barren and weed-filled garden bed into a thriving, lush, well-cultivated garden. So pretty soon, before you know it, before your very eyes, you'll see all these weeds disappear. You'll see the rows get basically groomed so that we'll have garden rows. You can see the irrigation we kind of have pulled out of the way for now, and I'm sure we'll have to fix a few of these. Some of this drip tape, drip tubing sometimes gets small holes or little fractures in it, so we'll do a little updating there as well. But what we're going to do is get all this cleaned up really good, get as many of the weeds ripped out as possible. Here you see we have a rock border from some rocks that we had on hand that we utilized. A lot of folks, you know, this is kind of a trickier way to do it because you can see that a lot of the weeds hide in those edges and corners. But we're going to do our best to rip all those out, clean it all up. The rocks for us are as material that we had, and we decided to use it. So we're going to do our best to clean this garden up, get it cultivated. Really, we're going to remove as much of the weeds as possible. We love composting around here. You can maybe see behind Mr. A there, we have a massive compost pile. We really can't add a whole lot more to it, and I'm definitely not going to add these weeds to it, because even though most of them are dead, some of them are still viable. Maybe there's some seeds hidden in there that are still viable as well. We don't want to add that to our compost pile. It already has, you know, stuff blown into it, and it's just not ideal. So we're going to kind of rake it all up, get as much of this old debris removed, and like I said, get these hills groomed, get it ready, because we want to plant this up. The trick is the rains are coming soon. And like I said earlier in the beginning of the video, it's going to be difficult for us to get out here. For one reason, the students I really can't have working out in pouring rain. But even if it's, you know, dry at the time they're here, if the soil is too wet, it's just not a great time to work it. So we're up against the clock. We want to get all this material cleaned up. Like I said, get the rows ready, get either seeds or seedlings transplanted and installed into these garden beds before those rains come, because the sooner the better, my friends. We've kind of pushed it back because we were trying to leave that black tarp on there for as long as we possibly could, but the time has come, the tarp has come off. It's now time to get it cleaned up and see if we can't get this garden turned back into a sweet little urban oasis. Let's check it out. All right, so we've been hard at work these last couple days. We've raked it out, churned it up, cultivated the soil. We ripped out the majority of all the old weeds and the remnants that they left behind. And so you can see right here, we've started kind of combing and cultivating and preparing the rows, because we like to space out our plants properly. And so we're going to continue to do this. You can see I've done a few yesterday, so you can kind of see the hills and the little troughs in between each other. So each one of those hills will have vegetables, seedlings planted into that. And so check it out, we've got to just do more. So right now we're going to just keep combing them up, get them all prepared, and then it's time for planting. Yeah, and just like that, we've got all the rows basically dug up, cultivated, and put into some hills, essentially some flattened hills. I think we got about 14 rows. They're about 14 feet long, give or take. We got some seedlings. Let's plant this stuff. And so I'll give you a little after here very shortly to see how it all looks. What's really important is going to be spacing. So what I actually did, I'll show you really quick, is I brought out and measured a spacing stick. You can do this with a ruler or whatever. I had an extra stake that we use for holding up houseplants and stuff. And so you can see right here is some of our plants, what we're going to be for anywhere between 6 inches apart to 12 inches apart to about 18 inches apart. So you can use this stick when you're planting to space out your seedlings very quickly and accurately, because what we're planting today is going to be cauliflower, broccoli. We got tons of spinach, and they all require somewhat different spacing. The broccoli, cauliflower likes to be about 18 inches apart, whereas the spinach, I think, is going to be a bit closer at about 10 to 12 inches apart. So I'm going to lay these out. We're going to use some Sure Start, maybe use some planting mix if needed, but you know, we added a lot of compost to this last spring, so we might not even use the planting mix. It might be straight Sure Start and straight up planting, fall garden planting. Let's do it. Well, all right, garden friends, we did it. It was a long day. It was raining all morning, but not so much that we couldn't get out here. Actually, the rain only went down into the soil, maybe a quarter inch, half an inch at most. It was actually pretty dry below. What was nice is the rain kind of kicked down the dust a little bit. We were able to cultivate all the rows, trim them up as you saw earlier. And I want to show you a little close-up of what it looks like behind me. We've got 14 rows all planted up, 3 types of spinach. We've got green beret. We've got, we've got Green Beret, Olympia, and Bloomsdale, long-standing. We've got, I think we got graffiti, cauliflower, cheddar cauliflower, snow cone or snowball cauliflower. We got probably three types of broccoli, I believe, as well, Atlas or something, and Green Globe, and we've got some Romanesco as well. This is a fantastic little plot. We've also got a few more containers that we might fill with some of our extra seedlings. We've got some leeks in the greenhouse. And a few more, like I said, a few more spinach and things that didn't quite make it into the garden, but I want to show you some close-ups of how it all looks. What we did is we cultivated, but some things that you're going to notice on the top of the surface of the soil, there's some little white pellets and some white dust. One is the Sluggo Plus, which is an organic slug and snail killer. It's organic certified, OMRI, right? The Organic Materials Review Institute says, hey, this is organic. It's safe for your dogs, I believe, and cats, but it kills slugs and snails like no other. And the reason why I'm using it here on these seedlings is because, well, we don't have too many slugs and snails in this garden, but we do have some. And when the seedlings are this young, I've noticed sometimes in folks' gardens, you may be a victim of this at home, you may be laughing like, oh, this happened to me. But you plant a little seedling in the ground, you come out the next morning, and it's almost defoliated completely, or a bunch is ripped off, chewed off, and you're not sure what's going on. Many times, especially with your brassicas, slugs and snails, especially this time of year, it's getting cooler, it's getting moister. The slugs are getting a little more bold to come out, and so they come out at night, and they love these little seedlings. They taste really good to them, just like they taste good to us. And so I want to protect them, so I shook the Sluggo all around them. We added some Sure Start fertilizer from EB Stone Organics, organic fertilizer to get the roots started. It's got mycorrhizal fungi. I've talked about that a bunch in here. It has a beneficial relationship with your roots to basically supercharge your plant's roots so they can absorb water, nutrition way more efficiently. Gives them a ton more surface area to work. Let me give you a close-up to show you what I'm talking about. Ah! Oh, my knees. Yeah, it's been a long day. So now you'll notice the irrigation pipes are still kind of pulled back and off the hills. We'll have to do that another day. We'll make a fun video out of that. It's just drip tube with drip tape. It works really good for these hills and these straight rows. We love using it. It's really simple, really affordable, and we can do a lot with it. But I want to show you a little bit of what we kind of did. We hilled things up. You can see the Sluggo in there kind of shaking about just a little bit. I did it pretty dense, but you could probably get away with it being a little lighter than that. And like I said, the Sure Start is a big deal when we plant. We had the students watering these with a watering can pretty thoroughly. As soon as they got into the soil, we gave them a nice gentle rinse, maybe even 2 rinses to really get them looking great. But that's what we did for today. I didn't know if we get it all done. You can see here's some spinach. So the spinach gets spaced a little bit closer. You could go, 8 to 12 inches. I think we went like 10 to 12 right here, just to make sure we had plenty of space. And then of course, all of the larger brassicas like our cauliflower and broccoli. We think we even have some cabbage in here as well. We give those all 18 inches plant to plant. And you'll notice the hills center to center are roughly about 3 feet apart, 36 inches for us. Maybe about a meter for all of our friends in other countries who use metric. A much more logical measuring system, I give you that. But you can see the garden looks pretty killer. Like I said, I've been hanging out. It's almost time to go home, but I got to get to some more work to continue talking plants for the podcast, which we're about to go record right now here in the classroom. Kids are all gone. It's time to get back to work. Let the second job flow. But not too bad. We'll keep an eye on this. We'll do some update videos to see how all this grows in. It is now late October, so hopefully the weather complies with us. We get a little bit of light rain off and on would be ideal, and then we will have ourselves, folks, a thriving fall cool season garden. And there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit the subscribe button, like, because we'd love to have you back for some more garden adventures, friends. Until next time, happy gardening. Please never stop growing.